picture. Really the hottest nigga, you gon' respect this lava. I'm shooting it if I pull it, boy, make sure you want this drama. I bring it to you like it's Law and Order SVU. Turn you to a vegetable, now you look good inside a soup. Family come from Bishopville, but I grew up in that Bronx Zoo where they shoot you dead in the street and then dance all on top of you. And I do what I gotta do.
Started. Please don't get me started. Started.
What up, y'all? Snake Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador, with a video reaction. This is a Cash App donation request by the brother Shane Freehold, who likes to get my opinion on topics dealing with parenthood, because he's a parent himself. So right here we have a Missouri school district reinstated spanking if parents give their okay. In this March 26, 2011 file photo, supported of St. Augustine High School, including Byron Bernard, class of 1980, center with Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child poster, demand the right of self-governance, including a corporal punishment policy, march and cheer in front of the Archdiocese of New Orleans and Notre Dame Seminary. The policy says corporal punishment will be used only when other forms of discipline have failed, and then only with the superintendent's permission. The district had dropped the practice in 2011. A school district in southwestern Missouri decided to bring back spanking as a form of discipline for students if their parents agree, despite warnings from many public health experts that the practice is detrimental to students. Classes resumed Tuesday in the Cassville School District for the first time since the school board in June approved bringing corporal punishment back to the 1900 student district about 60 miles, 100 kilometers southwest of Springfield. The district had dropped the practice in 2001. The policy states that corporal punishment will be used only when other forms of discipline, such as suspensions, have failed, and then only with the superintendent's permission. Superintendent Marilyn Johnson told the Springfield News Leader the decision came after an anonymous survey found that parents, students, and school employees were concerned about student behavior and discipline. We've had people actually thank us for it, he said. Surprisingly, those on social media will probably be appalled to hear us say these things, but the majority of people that I've run into have been supportive. Parent Christina Hartley told the Associated Press on Friday that she's on the fence about Classville's policy. She and her husband did not opt in because of her 6-year-old son, Anakin Modine, is autistic and would hit back if he was spanked. But she said corporal punishment worked for her when she was a troublemaker during her school years in California. There are all different types of kids, Harkey said. Some people need a good butt whooping. I was one of them. Right. Morgan Craven, National Director of Policy, Advocacy, and Community Engagement with the Intercultural Development Research Association, a national educational equity nonprofit, called corporal punishment a wildly inappropriate and ineffective practice. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 1977 that corporal punishment is constitutional and left it up to states to set their own policies. Craven said 19 states, many in the South, have laws allowing it in schools. The most current data from 2017 to 2018 shows that 70,000 children in the U.S. were hit at least once in their schools. Students who are hit at school do not fare as well academically as their peers and suffer physical and psychological trauma, Craven said. In some cases, children are hurt so badly that they need medical attention. If you have a situation where a kid goes to school and they can be slapped for, some minor offense, it certainly creates a really hostile, unpredictable, and violent environment, Craven said. And that's not what we want for kids in schools. But Tess Walters, 54, the guardian of her 8-year-old granddaughter, had no qualms about signing the corporal punishment opt-in papers. She said the possibility of being spanked is a deterrent for her granddaughter, who has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I've read some people's responses on Facebook recently, and they're just going over the top like, oh, this is abuse, and oh, you're just going to threaten them with, violence. And I'm like, what? The child is getting spanked once. It's not beatings. People are just going crazy. They're just being ridiculous, Walter said. Mitch Prinstein, chief science officer with the American Psychological Association, said decades of research shows corporal punishment will not reduce inappropriate behavior and is likely to increase aggression, rage, hostility, and could lead to depression and self-esteem problems. Prinstein said better methods for eliminating undesirable conduct, including problem-solving training, rewarding positive behavior, such as with extra recess, and providing extra attention in the classroom. Parents are experts on what works for their children, Prinstein said, but it's important for parents to be educated on very substantial science literature demonstrating again that corporal punishment is not a consistently effective way of changing undesirable behavior. Sarah Font, an associate professor of sociology. Okay, listen, this is a long article, and I'm not about to read the rest because I already have my opinion on the situation. So here's my opinion on the situation. There is a such thing as the term, it takes a village to raise a child. It does not take a village to necessarily discipline your child. Here's the thing about corporal punishment and allowing people in schools to discipline your child physically with spankings or allowing them to be slapped, right? Here's the thing. First of all, a lot of the schools that support this are from Catholic schools. Catholic schools have a real sinister history with children, so their opinions on what to do about children should be null and void and not even taken seriously at all. That's the first thing, right? Right? That's the first thing. Before they talk about how to discipline children, they should talk about the fact that their deacons are out here doing all these crazy things to children, and it's a lot of this hidden funny stuff, and they be having to pay off millions and billions of dollars to families and children for a whole bunch of nefarious deeds, right? So when a Catholic school says something, I don't take them serious at all because you can't trust them, right? And this is somebody who went to Catholic school. That's the first thing. Secondly, not every teacher or potential disciplinarian in the school actually has children. So you're talking about giving someone who does not have children the power and authority to physically reprimand and discipline your children. The people who don't have the parent gene, they're not parents, they don't discipline their own children, so they don't have an inkling of what's too far and what's just enough, right? Thirdly, as a black man, right, in America who grew up getting spankings, getting hit with the belt, getting slapped around on occasion, right? Right? These are things that at most, they temporarily fix a problem. They let a child know, hey, this was wrong. This is your physical punishment. But that does not fix the root cause of why children do certain things. That doesn't. Spankings and slapping a child around doesn't necessarily, especially kids who are too young to logically understand the consequences of what they're doing, that doesn't necessarily improve a child's behavior. What it does is it builds aggression. It makes them have contempt for the people who are disciplining them, right? It makes them hate the people who are disciplining them. It makes them figure out in their brains just how to be sneakier, to do the same thing that they was doing and getting caught about. And here's the thing, right? What are you going to do when these young boys, right? When these young boys, they become 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, what are you really going to do? Are you going to really try to spank these 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old boys whose bodies are getting stronger and bigger? What are you going to do? Because I remember I got to a certain age and my mother tried to hit me with the belt. I grabbed it with my hand. And we began a tussling match with the belt. And my mother never tried to hit me with a belt again. It doesn't really work. And then all parents who agree to schools physically disciplining and reprimanding your children, you're trying to take the easy and lazy way out instead of figuring out how to communicate with your children. Instead of learning how to discipline your children the right way. It's 2022. You want your kids to do exactly what you want them to do? Unplug the TV. Take the tablet. Take the phone. Take it away for a long time. Take it away. Okay? Now, young boys, right? Young boys will get to a point where, as a father, if you're a father reaching this, you're really gonna feel like your son is testing you. And if that's the case, let me show you what I got prepared for my kids, right? I'm gonna show you. Show you right now. Kid gloves. Right? These are adult gloves. These are kid gloves. You know what I'm going to do when my kids decide to challenge me? I'm going to be fair and square with them, because when it comes to families and it comes to men, there's this thing called being an alpha, right? And I'm going to say, here, son, put these gloves on. If you can beat me, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you can beat me. Or if you can manage to hit me in my face, you can do whatever you want to do today. But if I beat you up, right? Or if I make you give up, right? You're going to take your ass to your room and do exactly what I told you to do. Or you're going to do your chores, and that's the way you deal with a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Also, psychologically speaking, for daughters, if you're allowing corporal punishment in a school, right? You're training your daughter psychologically, one, to accept physical violence from other people who are not her parents, the people who love her the most, right? You're training your daughter to accept physical violence from people, and in a way, you're training your daughter, but of course the boy and the girl, to accept the fact that when people feel like you've done wrong, they have the right to put their hands on you. This is exactly what you're teaching your children. I am fully against this, okay? I grew up to be a felon. I went outside, I committed crimes, I did all type of things, and I grew up. My mother let some stuff slide, but I had my fair share of getting slapped, getting hit with the belt, right? I've had my fair share. I still ended up going outside, breaking the law, hurting people, robbing people, playing with guns. That doesn't really correct a child. It starts in the house. If you can't get your kids to act right in the house, of course they're going to go to school and not act right as well. Parents want to have a scapegoat. Parents don't want to do their job. They want to do their job that's outside of the house. where they make some money and be miserable and then come home and continue to ignore and neglect the children, right? They want to do that job, but they don't want to do the most important job, which is rearing your children, right? Talking to your children. Talking to your children. Yo, I'm recording the video. I'm going to follow in about 10 minutes. All right. Parents don't want to do the job of properly educating your children, repeatedly telling them what's what, what's right, what's wrong. Parents don't want to do the most important job in the world, which is actual parenting. And yes, this comes from somebody who, my kids don't live with me, all right? My oldest son I just had for the summer, I crammed a whole lot of knowledge and game and discipline into his head in the 2 months that I had him. My younger son, his mother's a bitch. She don't even let me talk to him. You know, when he reach out to me and she find out he reached out to me, she blocks me on whatever he reached out to me on. That's currently what I'm dealing with. It won't be this way forever. I've never properly had enough time with my younger son to really, instill a certain level of discipline in him. So I worry about how he's going to turn out. I worry a little bit less about my older son, even though I worry about both of them tremendously. But I'm totally against this. I'm totally against it, Nobody who's not, first of all, nobody who's not a direct, respectable disciplinarian is going to be allowed to hit my child, especially not nobody in school. I don't know you. You may cross the line and not even know you crossing the line. You're not going to scar my child and let them think that everybody who has an issue with them, especially adults, have a right to put their hands on them. Now you mentally preparing your children to be taken advantage of in other ways as well. And I'm not with that, right? I'll never allow that. I'll never be with that. And also I know neither of my baby mothers will be with that as well. Both of my baby mothers will go to jail before they allow someone to do that. So that's my opinion. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Anybody got specific video topics, things going on in the news that you would like me to react to, give my opinion on, go ahead and send that Cash App donation to jpeterson91, and send me an email or something and we can get straight to it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.